Old school is the new cool, and no other city in the world makes that point more convincingly than London.
In the second part of our series on London, we shift our gaze from the modern and multicultural side of the metropolis to its traditional patrician character. We'll take a walk through Westminster to see a part of the city where royal traditions continue to be practiced and where aristocratic institutions are still revered. Then we'll take you to where the royal family and Britain's elite go for the best bespoke clothing and services in the city. Plus a swing around the Royal Quarter in the Queen's limousine, with stops at London's Grand Am hotels for high tea and a 3 Michelin star wine pairing experience fit for a prince.
So join us, I'm David Celdran, and this is Executive Class.
If old school is a new cool, then London must be the world's trendiest city. From the TV series The Crown to the box office hit Kingsman series, London proves that its royal traditions and aristocratic customs are still fashionable after all these years. London may be one of the most liberal and democratic cities on the planet, but even here, old habits die hard and remain as visible as ever in the city's royal quarter.
Those who want to relive key royal moments will want to start here at Buckingham Palace, the Queen's residence when in London.
In a constitutional monarchy like Britain, Queen Elizabeth II is the acknowledged sovereign, and Buckingham Palace the official seat of Her Majesty, just as it was for monarchs since Queen Victoria. The palace has witnessed both royal celebration and national mourning.
This scene over here will resonate with many royal watchers. The gates of Buckingham Palace are usually where most royal processions begin. And if you recall, it's also where the people paid tribute to Diana after she was killed.
It's amazing how close you can get to the gates of the palace, even when the Queen is in residence, as the flag above suggests she is. Don't expect Her Majesty or any of the Windsors to greet the crowd, but you can at least look forward to the customary spectacle of the changing of the guard. Close to the palace is the famous medieval Gothic church where all sovereigns are invested, a tradition unbroken since William the Conqueror was made king in 1066.
Westminster Abbey is more than just a place of worship. It's where the kings and queens of England are crowned and are buried. And with the Queen currently in her 90s, who knows? We might see a new royal in the upcoming decade.
The Abbey is also the site of so many memorable royal weddings, the union of Prince William and Kate Middleton's most recently. The Queen herself was married here to Prince Philip and will be buried alongside her ancestors and future royals in the Abbey. The British monarchy is still very much alive, although the institution across the Abbey has clipped royal power significantly. The neo-Gothic Palace of Westminster, housing the British Parliament, is where genuine power resides. But unlike the French, who completely overthrew the monarchy, the British Constitution still recognizes the Queen, and the House of Lords, comprised of unelected members of the landed gentry. Quite strange for a democracy.
Too bad Parliament House is currently under construction with scaffolding all over. So it's not exactly a pretty picture. But then again, neither is British politics, especially in this time of Brexit.
But at least the Victoria Tower Gardens provide a peaceful refuge from politics. And the iconic sculpture, The Burghers of Calais by Auguste Rodin, is simply fantastic. Another famous statue close by on Westminster Square is of Winston Churchill, the legendary statesman whose famous war rooms and residence at 10 Downing are located within the building complex at Whitehall across the road. Whitehall is a home of the British Defence Establishment and the barracks and stables of one of London's most popular symbols. The household cavalry with their peculiar helmets and frozen gaze may seem a bit touristy, but few realize they're an active and lethal unit of the British Army.
Stand clear, the archers!
So don't annoy the men tasked with protecting the Queen. A spot in the mounted regiment is one of the most prestigious postings, with prime positions still reserved for the sons of noble families.
One of the wonderful things about London is that although it's a hyper-modern city, the people here also love tradition, especially ceremonial parades.
Royal processions and military parades are a major feature of London, part of what makes the city so colorful. The Sea Cadets are joining the annual Trafalgar Day Parade, which celebrates Admiral Nelson's victory over Napoleon's navy. The procession begins here at the Horse Guards Parade and winds through the grounds of Buckingham Palace en route to Trafalgar Square. Along the route is London's most beloved Royal Park and Promenade. St. James Park was a private playground of monarchs since James I, though the public has since been allowed to join in. Paths through London's prettiest park take you to the Mall, the city's most celebrated thoroughfare, the scene of royal processions that start and end at Buckingham. On Sundays, when the Mall is closed to traffic, ordinary Londoners take over the road that was once a personal driveway of the royal family. My last leg through the royal quarter of London takes me through the majestic Admiralty Arch, the ceremonial entry to Buckingham Palace, or in my case, exit to Trafalgar Square, where patrician London ends and the working-class city begins. The square named after the British naval victories where all of London congregates, whether it's to demonstrate or enjoy art at the National Gallery. Rights and privileges Londoners take for granted today, but which only a few centuries ago were the exclusive domain of the British aristocracy. After the break, more aristocratic traditions that have become accessible to the rest, where the royals go for the best bespoke hats, shoes, and suits when executive class returns.